A major shakeup is coming to the fuel pump starting May 1st. And trust me when I say everyone is going to be affected in one way or another. So, why is this happening? Well, the answer is on the EPA.gov website, the Environmental Protection Agency for the United States of America. And I'll leave a link in the description box of this video so you can research it for yourself. But we're going to dive down a rabbit hole with this one because it wasn't that long ago that President Trump was talking about how gas was $1.97 a gallon. And in a recent press conference, he was talking about how he thought the barrels were going to be closer to $200 a barrel. I don't know. So this is a solution that they came up with. EPA Fortifies domestic fuel supply, provides Americans with relief at the pump by approving nationwide E15 and removing boutique fuel markets for E10. E10 is what is used in traditional gasoline for quite a while now. It is fuel that has 10% ethanol. Ethanol is essentially corn alcohol that brings up the octane level. Today, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, Administrator Lee Zeldin, in consultation with U.S. Department of Energy, DOE, in accordance with the Clean Air Act, CAA, issued a temporary emergency fuel waiver to allow nationwide sales of E15 gasoline blended with 15% ethanol, and to remove all federal impediments to selling E10. Gasoline blended with 10% ethanol across the country. Through the waiver, EPA is fortifying the domestic gasoline supply chain and providing Americans relief at the pumps ahead of the summer driving season. Beginning on May 1st, 2026, EPA's waivers will work to prevent disruption in Americans' fuel supply by keeping E15 on the market and giving Americans more fuel options. EPA is issuing the waiver notice today to allow fuel industry stakeholders adequate time to transition the fuel distribution system. As required by the CAA, EPA, and DOE evaluated the current situation and determined that granting the waiver was in the public's interests. Public's interests. All right. It has been stated by officials that only a small percentage of people will be impacted by this E15 fuel, but that's still people being impacted. And what isn't completely disclosed is the fact that there are so many engines that can't run E15. And there's also quite a few engines that if you do use E15, over time, it's going to destroy it. President Trump is unleashing American energy dominance, and today's action will directly lower prices at the pump and gives a clear demand signal to our domestic biofuels producers. Allowing the summer sales of E15 will provide drivers more options at the pump and deliver a bigger domestic market for American farmers, said U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke L. Rollins. While today's announcement is great news for farmers, year-round E15 is essential for the farm economy, and Congress needs to find a common-sense solution that provides much-needed certainty to consumers and farmers. Once again, Administrator Zeldin and President Trump's cabinet is delivering for our great American farmers. Our energy security is truly a national security priority, and our nation's corn farmers are a key part of the solution. Now, think about what was just said. It's a temporary solution until May 20th, but they want year-round. Nothing temporary ever truly stays temporary. Remember when Walmart used to be 24 hours a day? All they needed to see was they don't need to be 24 hours a day, and now they're not. So what separates this from a similar fate? That is my question. EPA will continue to monitor the fuel supply with industry and federal partners. The agency will be ready to extend emergency fuel waivers as long as the fuel supply circumstances warrant such action. Key pillars of EPA's Powering the Great American Comeback initiatives are restoring Americans' energy dominance and cooperative federalism. Okay. The agency looks forward to working with our state partners to ensure applicable state requirements are waived and that Americans are provided with the utmost benefits from the Trump's administration's actions. Wow, that's a lot to take in. All right, first off, if you have a vehicle that can't successfully run this fuel, it is going to cost you a lot more down the road. It's just not gonna work. And yeah, I would really love to know your thoughts on this. I wanted to bring this out because there are quite a few RV owners that hold on to their older RVs. And when motorhomes are built, they have hundreds, if not thousands, of chassis sitting there from various different years. Like when Ford runs these lines or Freightliner runs these lines, they don't do them one at a time. They do them in batches. So it's kind of difficult to know exactly where all these parts came from. And it could likely be an older situation inside a newer situation. And this fuel might cause a situation. The issue is you could visit two of the same fuel stations, and one can have E10 and the other one could have E15. And this pilot station has E15, whereas the other one had E10. And according to afdc.energy.gov, there is an E15 ban list. You're not allowed to use E15 in these situations. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, defines E15 as gasoline blended with 10.5% to 15% ethanol. In 2011, EPA approved E15 for light-duty conventional vehicles of model year 2001 and newer. Through a Clean Air Act waiver request based on significant testing and research funded by the U.S. Department of Energy, stations are not required to sell E15, but some have started offering E15 due to state and federal incentives for upgrading equipment and better profit margins when compared with regular gasoline. E15 is available in 31 states, just over 3,000 stations. E10 remains the limit for passenger vehicles older than the model year 2001 and for other non-road and small engines and vehicles that use gasoline, such as lawnmowers, motorcycles, and boats. Vehicles approved for E15 include the following: flex fuel vehicles, conventional vehicles of model year 2001 and newer. Way to shrink that list, huh? And this isn't not necessary or could or maybe. The language used here is prohibited. All motorcycles, all vehicles with heavy-duty engines such as school buses and delivery trucks, all off-road vehicles such as boats and snowmobiles, all engines and off-road equipment such as chainsaws and gasoline lawnmowers, all conventional vehicles older than the model year 2001. Remember, you could have a vehicle from 2002 and have an engine from 1997. It's not that uncommon. There are additional regulations for stations selling blends above E10. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, let's see how that ties in. Come back to this video on May 21st and let's talk about in the comments if this is still a thing or not. That would be kind of fun to do. Come back on May 21st and let's talk about it. Let's see if they're still doing this. Here it is, the reality's here. Apparently watering down the fuel is in the interest of Americans. I don't know. I'm scared to death about my truck. I'm really worried about running fuel through it. And yeah, I guess we'll have to see this temporary quote unquote year-round quote unquote farmer situation is going to go. I don't know. Need to get a grip on it. So while you're planning your fuel stops, make sure you're picking the correct fuel. A little bit of homework. If you got any value out of this video, please smash that like and subscribe button. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let your public officials know what you think. As far as I know, it's still a democracy. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Just because something's cheap doesn't mean it's the right way to go. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. This is Chris from Chris Travels. Hope to see you on the road.